even when we created school choice is the black choice, there were people who were saying, well, why are you doing this? Charter schools are bad and it should be all about public education. And most folks really have no understanding of our history, first and foremost. And so also you're going to have some homework. So what's going to happen is throughout this conversation, I'm going to be throwing stuff out. So you're going to probably write some stuff down, what books you need to go read and resources. That's how I always do it. And one of the books that's critically important is called The Education of Blacks in the South, 1860 to 1935 by James D. Anderson. How many people saw Henry Louis Skipgate's his series Reconstruction? Well, if you saw that, if you actually read Education of Blacks in the South, taxpayer-funded education did not exist in the South until after slavery. It wasn't until African Americans got into the state legislatures in South Carolina, in North Carolina, all across the South, and actually put it in the state constitution. And so when you go through the South today, and even in fact in many northern states, they were impacted by what black folks did in the South. And so taxpayer-funded education was created by black people, because African Americans, free slaves, understood the value of education, because they figured out that if you want to kill me because I can learn how to read, it must be something powerful about reading that I need to know about. And the reason that's important is because when you talk about this notion of choice, black folks created schools because we had no choice. And what has happened is, and also this whole idea that black people don't care about education is nonsense, because what Anderson's research shows, and you read that particular book, that even in Memphis, 92% of all black kids were in public schools, when just 40% of white kids in Washington, D.C. were in public schools. Freed slaves understood the value of education. Black people have understood the value of education since the beginning. The difference has been what kind of education we have been receiving. And so this also is important, because when I travel around the country talking about choice, literally people come up to me and they say, I don't understand how you can be so pro-black and you can support charter schools. I say, well, first of all, if you understand the concept, you first control the curriculum. That's first. So black people talk about we need more black history in our schools. Well, you control the curriculum, more black history. And then they say, well, we need to have more arts and dance and band. Well, you control the curriculum, you got more arts and dance and band. Second thing is you control the resources. You control who gets the contracts, janitorial contracts, textbook contracts, IT contracts. So that means that not only do you control the education of our children, you control the economics of our neighborhoods, and you control the curriculum. You control those three things, then that's what it means to have power. And so many people are walking around misinformed about exactly what this is all about. And so we have been traveling around the country. We've been in multiple cities. We started this tour in Indianapolis, in Philadelphia, Indianapolis, in Atlanta. But for the last several years, I've traveled around the country with Kevin Johnson and Michelle Reed. And we've been to Tulsa, Charleston, South Carolina, Atlanta. We've been to Chicago, Nashville. We've been to Memphis, and all these places, because what I cannot tolerate are black folks who are walking around spinning stories and nonsense that somebody else told them, as opposed to the actual facts.